Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Green interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Green.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Wayne Titus III, formerly of Savant Wealth, and we'll talk about what that formerly means in just a minute. Wayne, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Seth. And it was actually formerly AMDG Financial, and we became Savant.
Got it. And well, let's go back in time, because before we talk about the change you recently went through, let's talk about your career before then. You've been in the financial industry for a long time. How did you get started?
Yeah, I actually started in sales and sales management for cars and boats a long time ago. Went back, got an accounting degree, and my CPA, started working with Ernst Young, then joined Coopers and Lybrand. They merged with Waterhouse. And I was basically involved in financial audits, but with a specialization on systems audit and control. Okay.
And then how does that lead to Savant?
Yeah, it's interesting. I started my practice, AMDG Financial, in 2002. And because I had the business process understanding and things like that, I set up a firm that was fee only and fiduciary, and focused on serving clients, families, small businesses, integrating tax, financial, and investment strategy. And over the years, my biggest concern was making sure that my clients were taken care of if something ever happened to me. And so I started diligently, probably in about 2014, started trying to figure out how I could put into place a succession plan. I developed that and was able to bring on a number of partners. So by the time we merged with Savant, we had 5 partners in the practice, which you would think would be enough for a succession plan. And we thought that it was. But in looking at the marketplace, what's happening with consolidation, our ability to compete against larger firms and to have access to the tools that they have to serve our clients was really a big part of that process. And so we began to explore different opportunities, and there are a number of different kinds of ways that you can do this, but we explored a number of different opportunities and we landed where we did.
And I'm sure the longer version of that story should be in a book somewhere. Let's talk about the most recent transition and how that came about.
Sure. Well, about 30 months ago, I was really approached. I usually didn't answer these phone calls, but I was approached by a large firm, was interested in talking about purchasing my practice. And as I began to talk with them, I began to learn a little bit more about who these different players are. And, it was strange because I felt like at some points I was haggling over a used car. Like, they would say, like, this is what we think you're worth. What? That's not enough? So how much would it take? It's just,
go home with this RIA today.
Exactly. I was like, wait a second, this is not how this works. And that was a PE VC backed firm. I also explored working with investment banking firms and consultants on doing due diligence for us. What I kind of came to learn is they're really not a fiduciary for me, and that they get paid no matter what. So the terms of the deal might look good to me on paper, but as soon as the deal was inked, whether or not those terms were good, the consultant or the investment firm was paid. And so all their motivation was really to close deals. So I finally kind of came to the point where I said, I've got to do this myself. So my partners and I, started looking around, and we went through that due diligence process ourselves. We saw a press release that Savant Wealth Management had put out saying they were looking for like-minded partners. I basically called them and started talking with the guy at the time, Mike Rain, who was running basically all the business mergers inquiries. And he and I started a great conversation, and there was a number of things that I saw in that process that I thought were fantastic.
I know you started to touch on it briefly. What inspired you to want to sell in the first place?
Yeah. So, a lot of firms are really just doing investment management. We did a little bit more than that. I'm a CPA and I had a separate tax and accounting practice, which incidentally Savant purchased as well. But we integrated tax, financial, and investment strategy, which I thought was great. My clients thought it was great. They loved the one-stop shop kind of an integration piece that we were able to provide for them. The thing that I saw was the tools that are available take a lot of resources. So to be able to serve our clients in a better way, we needed to be bigger. And the other thing was that Savant provided more, with their business model than we did. So they integrate the tax, the financial, the investment strategy, but they also have in-house legal experts. They have a full-time division that does retirement planning. So all of these things are, important aspects of what we're able to do. Additionally, you have those additional layers of support. We had really just one operations person that was backing us up. Now we've got, 100. So if our operations person's out ill or wants to go on vacation, we can still move along, without a hitch. So having that duplication of roles, cross-training and things like that is great, at your own firm, but really it's more important when you start to talk about, being able to continue to provide that high level of service for clients full time.
Absolutely. So how has your life and your business changed since then?
For my clients, the nice thing is I get comments from them is it doesn't really seem like it's any different. Our team serves the same clients that we served before and new clients that come aboard. So for our clients, I think the best compliment is nothing seems to have changed. The investment strategy was very, very similar to what we had done previously. There were some tweaks to it, which was the other kind of benefit to us. Savant had a full-time investment research team and a full-time a chief investment officer. So, I couldn't spend 100% of my time doing all that. I was the chief cook and bottle washer, just like my other partners. But now we have a full-time research team to lean on. And so there's a lot of niceties where you're removing some of the hats that you had previously as a smaller firm, worrying about hiring, getting into the universities, getting good talent. All of that now with a larger firm is so much easier for us than it was before. And we have a lot less administrative work that we really need to focus on. We can really just focus on serving our clients, which is what we like to do.
Yeah. And it's the highest, best use of all of our time. How has it affected you personally?
Personally, I think as a team, Savant had a track record really of more post-merger organic growth in their new offices. So we're seeing continued growth in our office, which I think is great. Personally, I've been able to focus more on transitioning and mentoring my team members, which, I had less time to do that before because I was basically running my business. And as an owner of Savant, my partners and I are among probably about 150 to 200 employee owners of Savant. Savant is an employee-owned organization. And, participating in pushing that firm forward and the future of that firm and having that equity position, I think is something personally that's been quite rewarding.
I would imagine so. Have you changed the use of your time at all? Because now that there's a whole lot of stuff you don't have to do anymore.
Yeah, I'm focused more on, right now I'm working on some awesome internal projects that I think are going to change our firm and the industry as a whole. And I'm able to, like I said, just focus on my clients and not have the distraction of, worrying about payroll and employee related things or compliance is another area that I really enjoyed giving up. So I'm still working full time, but maybe not to the extent, full time for me as an owner of a smaller firm was like 60 or 70 hours a week, whereas now, it's a little more reasonable. So I would say I claim back some of my time personally to do other things that I find fun.
With all the success you've had for your clients, and then as part of the acquisition, what's your biggest challenge now?
Oh gosh, biggest challenge? I can't think of a biggest challenge right now. I can think of some big benefits. One of the big benefits that I got coming to Savant that was kind of unintended was we had unfortunately about 6 clients pass away this summer. And the unfortunate part with that is having to help their heirs and trustees kind of wind those things down. What I loved about it was once we kicked off that process in our system, we actually, within 2 or 3 days, received an estate planning checklist from our internal attorneys on, what should be done as a checklist for the trustee or for the person trying to close down that estate. That was just a huge relief to the clients that I work with, and frankly, something that I hadn't anticipated. So I can't think of any huge challenges that we're having at the moment, but I can definitely think of examples of benefits.
Well, let's put it another. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Oh, just the ability to focus on helping people. I think a lot of times the industry is focused on financial planning and providing a solution from a financial planning perspective. Our focus is really more on what are the underlying emotions and things that drive into the goals that the clients want to achieve. I know, previously in most firms are driving out like 1 or 2 or 3 different client goals, accomplishing, making sure that we have enough money to outlast us. We're driving out probably 10 or 15 goals in these conversations and then putting plans together to help them achieve them, which aren't necessarily all financial. So we're really getting to that point where we're walking in solidarity with the client through this process, helping them achieve everything that's important to themselves, not just financial independence. That's
a great answer. What do you do when you're not at the office?
When I'm not at the office, well, I love to sail. I recently picked up sail racing, yacht racing, and do the Mac race. Done that twice. Do around the cans racing and leisurely cruising on a sailboat.
I know you are also committed to constantly improving and personal development. What are some of the best books you've ever read?
I think some of the most impactful books are Gino Wickman and EOS. I think for small businesses, if you're not understanding your business processes and simplifying and improving things on an ongoing basis, you're losing out to your competition. And so I think anything by Gino Wickman would be fantastic, or is fantastic.
Yeah, he's been on the podcast. We're huge fans of all things EOS. For our folks who are watching and listening and want to learn more about what you're doing, where is the best place for them to go?
They can go to savantwealth.com, and that's our firm website.
All right. Well, then this has been Seth Green with Wayne Titus from savantwealth.com. Wayne, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Seth. It was a pleasure.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.